interview session or any Q&As related to functional and the technical part of Workday. Okay. So now I think I am clear and everyone can see my screen. Any point in time, if you feel like that I'm not audible, please raise the concern. Okay, so since what I have done is like I have got the document which explains about the questions which are being asked during our interviews and the live scenarios. Let's say any point in time, if you wanted to disclose your scenario, like what kind of issues you faced during implementation or any kind of support project. So we'll have an overview session. So here questions are listed. So we'll talk about the first questions. The first thing, we are focusing on the functional part, because when I say an integration consultant, even an integration consultant has to go with the functional training. So, okay, let me brief you about what kind of training, if we go for any kind of training, what is the training parameters. So let's say I'm going for a functional consultant training, HCM fundamentals training. So the training is for 8 days. First 4 days is HCM fundamental and the other 4 days is like purely hands-on experience. So this is 2 weeks of training wherein anyone who is undergoing this training has to complete one examination. Like it's a kind of first Q&A session wherein a multiple choice question is being given, and then there is a project. So they'll give you a scenario and you have to create, and that is in classroom. This functional consultant certification is in classroom. If you are going for this, you have to be in the class. So Workday has got different centers across the globe. So in India, it is in Bangalore. In United States, it's in London. Then there are options in US, UK. So depending upon your region, you will undergo for this training, and this is for 2 weeks. 2 weeks means 4 days in first week and 4 days in second week. This is for a functional consultant. It is classroom training, mandatory classroom training. Now let's focus on the integration consultant. So once you do this, there is a functional certification you will get. But what about integration consultant? When you also go for integration consultant, the first 4 days will be a functional training. So the first 4 days which you go under functional training, even though if you're going for a integration consultant, you have to undergo that training. That is the primary requirement. So though I am a technical expertise or I am a functional expertise, I should know the fundamentals of functional HCM. So yeah, whether you choose functional or technical or you choose techno-functional consultant, the thumb rule says you have to be a functional consultant. So here the topics which we are going to discuss, it's for both the consultant, both the type of consultant, functional as well as technical. Since like last half an hour, we'll purely have a Q&A session, or in between, if you wanted to ask something related to the queries, you can ask. So the first thing it says, okay, now here the questions are listed. I'm going to talk about the real-time scenario. No understanding, no explaining, because all you know the concept of security, because you have gone through HCM fundamental trainings, you had some hands-on experience related to security. But the things which we are doing here, we'll see the live scenario. What all requirements you get when you work on a support project, or what all requirements you get when you work on the integration or implementation project. So the first question is Workday security related questions. Okay, so first thing, Workday, the entire configuration which you see in Workday, this is my Workday tenant. If you see out here, I can see my inbox, I can see notification, there are these applications, there are announcements. If I'm looking out for any process or any task, is all governed by my security access, right? So each individual in Workday, let's say I'm logging as Charlie Smith. So Charlie Smith has got access. Similarly, if I'm looking out for some other employee, he may have a different access. So any individual in Workday is tagged with the security. So that is for sure. The entire Workday or any employee, any contingent worker has to tag with either of the security, whether it could be employee as self-service or contingent worker as a self-service. So security is bound to all the data. Now, what are the real-time scenarios? Let me give you a real-time scenario. Let's say I'm giving you a requirement. If anyone wanted to try, they can try. Let's say I have a document I have a document category. Let's say finance is the document category. Okay, let me show you where I'm talking about. If you go to employees profile, let me look out for Logan McNeil. So I'll go to Logan McNeil's profile. Okay, all my documents are under personal tab. So let me go to personal, and you see this document section, right? So this is my document section. If you see this document section, it has got different, it says ID verification, it says benefits, it says certification. I'm giving you the real-time scenario. So there are different categories. What is the fundamental things? That anything which are tagged with benefit should only be visible by benefit administrator. Please understand my requirement. I'm saying any document which are tagged with benefit should only be visible by benefit administrator. Secondly, any kind of ID verification document should only be visible by HR partner. Please see the requirement. I am saying these categories should be ID verification should only be view, update, deleted by HR partner. Any document which are tagged with benefit should only be deleted, updated, or modified by benefit administrator. Now this is my requirement. I'm not going, you please create role-based security. Please give, since we know the fundamental things, so we'll be able to do that. This is what my requirement is. I want ID verification to HR. Please understand my question. And benefit tagged security group should only be visible by a benefit administrator or benefit partner. This is my requirement. Anyone wanted to try? How do you handle this issue, or what is the approach? No matter, don't go about the configuration, but if you guys have any concept of creating such kind of security, so you guys can, this is the real-time scenario. This is what the real world is all about. No one is going to ask you copy role-based security group and do some assignments. No, this is what my requirement is. Anyone want to try? At least try. Okay, so let me explain you. So I hope everyone have understood the requirement what I'm saying, right? So you heard the concept of segment-based integration, segment-based security. Let me go back to Logan. Let me duplicate this. Okay, I'm just duplicating the tab. And yes, if anyone is asking you for a security, you can use this example. If you give this example, the interviewer will come to know that, okay, this guy really worked on the integration. Sorry, this guy is really worked on the security front, because such kind of requirement is a live scenario. This is in training, or you go for any kind of certification, no one is going to cover you this kind of queries. They only teach you what is there in the document. So what you have, you also have a document knowledge, and the person who is teaching is also teaching you the document. So there is no additional things which you wanted to get. How you get things? When you actually go on project. So, okay, now there is a segment-based security group. Let me tell you that. Create security group. Let me see, do I have that access or not? No, then I'll proxy. I don't think so. I have a proxy. Let me proxy with the super admin user. So I know Logan McNeil is a super admin and she has got all the access. So let me proxy as Logan McNeil. So here I go. I'm proxying as Logan McNeil, and then I'll see that I have a security group access. Okay, so the task is create security group. Create security group. So I was not having an access of creating security group. Yes, here you see there is one concept called segment-based security group. Segment-based security group. So what does a segment-based security group do? Let me say this is test. Okay, our test is already there. So let me say document view. Okay.
So Madhavan,
yeah.
So like other security groups, the segment-based security group also has two different types: unconstrained and constrained.
let me see that. I have not seen that unconstrained because this is constraint only. Because what I am doing, this
Okay.
segment security group is a constraint because I'm defining a restriction that only ID verification to be viewed by HR partner, benefit to be viewed by benefit administrator or benefit partner. Let
Okay.
me scroll down because whatever I see, there is no constraint and unconstrained. It is only saying segment based security group. Means any segment based security group when I create is pure, or else see, if you wanted to give this segment, now what is happening, since I've logged in as Logan McNeil, Logan McNeil can see all the document because she has got the access. But in real time scenario, this is real time scenario, right? You don't have to give access to the entire document. If you wanted to do so, there is a simple domain. You can give that access. So what is happening? All the security group whom you have shared can see the document. So let me just refresh this page since I've logged in as Logan. So this page will actually go. Let me just refresh this page. So this is constrained only. Choose this access and remember whichever example I am giving, all those examples are a real-time scenario. And when you go for an interview also, you need to make sure that you just replicate what I am saying. Because in interview, no one is going to ask you, please explain security, segment-based security. Yeah, there are interviewers who can ask, but it's always better and preferred that you should explain with them an accurate example. When you give an example, the person who is sitting in front of you will get to know that, okay, he or she has gone through with this. No matter you did or not, that is again a different story. But yes, you understand the concept because you're giving the examples as well. So let me have that. So I'll create this. I'm saying I've given the name that document view SG. SG stands for security group. Which security group you want this to be accessed? So I'm saying HR partner, whosoever is the HR partner can get this access. So let's say HR partner. And here you are giving the access to segment, which segment you wanted to create. So I want, see, now see the process. Okay, I am giving you the process so that you can understand. There are different segments which are already being created. I'm not going to use that because since I don't have the already created access. So what I'll do, I'll create the access. So I'll say, see, here you get all the things. Just type document. So here you will get a segment called document. See, document category absence, document category offer, document category worker, document category. So I am saying this is my document category. Let me say, where is my worker? Okay, let me just verify this. Okay. I'm just looking into the configuration and then I do that. I'm looking up for Logan's profile. Let's say again go back to Logan and just first validate that what the actual document ID is all about. So I'll go to personal, I'll go to documents and I'll look into this part. What does this actually stands for? Okay, let's say find documents. Okay, not required. Document category.
Manthan,
Yeah.
it is a document category ID verification or something is there, right? In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
access rights prompt list also, we see one prompt, one option, worker verification. So do you
Yeah.
think that's the one?
No, let me just identify that first because or else if security, see, very important thing because anything which you deal with, when you deal with security, you need to make sure that you should, because you should know the entire concept.
Right.
So, and very importantly, never ever do anything in production. Okay. Since this is a JMS environment, so I have the liberty to do wrong as well. So let me just validate that under which category these documents are saved. So let's say worker contract. I'm just viewing this and I'll get to know. So under worker category, I'm saying there is contingent worker document, employee contract, non-disclosure, offer letter and probation letter. So if I wanted to create a segment for these kinds of security, so I'll choose worker category, worker contract. I'm just giving you an example. So there are these different categories and we need to identify which document category holds my ID verification. So let me just say benefits. Okay, so just I'll go for benefits and see. I think in benefits we'll get to know benefits document. Benefits. Okay, this is benefit category document. Okay, there is no document at all. Let me see anything else which relates with us. Or else, let me create. It is asking me for document. Address verification, hire related. Okay, these are the types of document category. Let's say personal verification. I'll say I'm just creating a new one so that I can tag this with my security group.
So this creating a new one, we don't do very often, I guess, right? It has to be approved and everything. Right?
Okay, no worries. So let me use the existing one then. Rather, I'll use worker contract then. If that is the case, I'm not going to create one. See, you also get creating a document also. That is also a requirement, right? If I am the user, I may say that please do this. Since we already working on the things, so let's go here and choose that. I know that all my documents related to worker are tagging to worker contract. So here what I'm doing, I'm creating a segment-based security group. Here I'm saying that only HR partner can view this security group. Okay, so I'm just tagging this. And remember, in role-based security group, you have to assign to any supervisory organization. Here for segment-based security group, there is no assignable roles. Why there is no assignable roles? That means anyone who is tagging to an HR partner can have access to these categories. So you don't have to assign this group. You're getting me what I'm saying? When you assign role-based security group or user-based security group, what you do, you actually go to supervisory organization and then assign. For user-based, what you do, you go to user's profile and then you assign the user-based security group. But in segment-based security group, you don't have to go to any person, because what you are doing, you are assigning this security group to existing security. So assignment is not required. That means whosoever is having HR partner access can access this document. Understood? Let me just save this.
Yeah, that means whatever you are trying to say is there could be many supervisory organizations in the company, and each and every supervisory organization could have a different HR partner role assigned to it. But segment-based security group is like the people who are in that HR partner role throughout the organization will be able to access these documents. That's what you are trying to say, right? It is not constrained to any supervisory organization.
No. Sorry, you are taking other way, right? This is constrained. Means, let's say I'm giving an example. You are HR partner of India location. I am HR partner of US location. So if my security group is constrained, like HR partner is a constraint, so I can only see the document of United States employee. You can only see the HR document of Indian employees, because you are the HR partner for Indian location. I am the HR partner for United States. This is what it works. Because what we are doing, we are simply segregating the document to one security group, which is a segment based. Here, the roles remains the same. If 10 people is having this 10 HR partner, so whatever HR partner access is having, he can perform only that access. So if I am HR partner for US location, I can only see these document category only for my United States employee. On the other hand, if you are for Indian employees, you can only see document for Indian employees. If you, even though you are looking out for United States, you won't be able to see that document, because your access is being controlled by this security group. Here only I'm defining that whosoever is having this access will have this document category view. Understood?
Got it, Manthan.
Yeah, thank you. So this is what. So first question, because the document which you say, it gives you the entire scenario. And after that, we will have a cap of half an hour wherein we'll discuss a Q&A which you guys are having. Okay, so first thing is clear. This is one kind of, there are n number of security things, but this is what which is unique and which, because see, since you are practicing security, but I don't think so anyone who's been giving you a training or maybe any point in time you have not heard of this concept. Even though you heard of concept, but the real time scenario would not have been understood. So this is what you can explain when you say a security related. Tell me about what kind of security you did or what kind of security groups you have created. Because role-based security group, user-based security group, functional area, domains, these are very common. Now, anyone who is going for an interview should have that document handy with them. Let's say I'm not a Workday consultant, but when I'm going for an interview, I'll read that document. So what is there in the document? The interviewer is not interested to understand what you have learned. Interviewer is only focusing on that what kind of work or what kind of experience you have. Understood? So any point in time, you should, anyone should give an example with their experience, not with the document, because document anyone can read and give. Okay, now let's jump on to the other part, which says explain implementation of supervisory organization. What is that? Okay, this is very common question. Supervisory organization concept looks very easy. If I say supervisory organization, you'll say that supervisory organization is the organization which groups worker or which groups an employee. The concept of supervisory organization looks very easy, but in real-time scenario, when you start working on it, if your supervisory organization concept is not correct, the entire implementation will go for a toss. As remember yesterday, I was saying that there are some things which are master setup. Means if you don't have that setup, you won't be able to succeed the successful implementation. So what you can do is first understand the concept of supervisory organization. So yes, I know that supervisory organization, as per definition is concerned, all the candidates who are there online will give me an example. What does a supervisory organization do? Still, try it from your end. You tell me, what does a supervisory organization do? Anyone can try. I want the interactive session to be interactive so that you guys can have your questions or you can clear your understanding. Anyone want to try? If not, then I'll explain. Okay, let's focus on the concept of supervisory organization. Please understand, the entire HCM is focused on the supervisory organization. So when you see a supervisory organization, since I know that human resource is very common supervisory organization, so I'll just look out for that. So human resource. If you see supervisory organization, what all things you see? The first thing is like supervisory organizations gives you the definition that okay, since there is no employee, let me look out for the other supervisory organization. We should have some members in that. Let me see this. No members. Now there is one more. I think here we should get an employee. If not, then I'll have to create one then. Let me randomly pick.
We can go to Steve Morgan and see org chart under him, and then we can find the exact.
Yeah, that's great.
With people.
Steve Morgan. Okay, so here I go, and this is my. Okay, can anyone tell me why we create hierarchy? We divide everything to be arranged in hierarchy. Can anyone tell me? Well, see, if you see this, let's say global modern services. This is my supervisory organization, and if I see that it says that supervisory organization has got these many subordinates. Okay, so why we create everything into hierarchy? Why we should not create an individual supervisory organization? Because Workday works on the inheritance concept. When I say inheritance concept means, what does an inheritance do? Inheritance will get all the superior assignment to my subordinate organization. to use this concept, I have to use a parent-child relationship. Then only I'll be able to use the concept called inheritance. So any point in time, if I want to create one more subordinate under global modern services, I don't have to give all the roles assignment. I don't have to give location. Why? Because it inherits from the superior organization. So first thing, while creating supervisory organization, everyone will ask for reorganization. What does a reorganization do? What is the purpose of reorganization?
It captures.
It basically it shows all the data, whatever the actions we have done over a period of time, something like that. It's just a copy of everything what we do.
Yeah, you're close to it, but again, this is an interview question because everyone of us would have gone through a concept of reorganization. Whenever we are creating, let's say I want to create a supervisory organization. Let's say create supervisory organization. So if I go here, see the first thing it is asking me for reorganization. But if I'm creating a supervisory organization from global modern services, it will not ask me that. Reorganization. Okay, I think I don't have create subordinate or what. No. Here I should get a create subordinate. Okay, let's focus on this part. Okay, when you create organization from supervisory organization, then reorganization is not asking. Why? Because of inheritance concept. Let me give you the concept of reorganization. It has been asked for reporting purpose. The first answer should be it is only for reporting purpose. Even though you take another supervisory reorganization, I take another reorganization, that the entire concept of supervisory organization is not going to change. The only purpose to get the reorganization is for reporting purpose. Let's say there is a report called reorganization. We'll just look into that. Okay, reorganization. So having this report will give us the information that by using this reorganization, actually how many subordinates or how many supervisory organizations are being created. So reorganization is for reporting purpose. Okay, why do we create an hierarchy? You might have worked for any supervisory organization. You always have said that this is my superior organization, this is my subordinate organization, this I have divided. This is because to get the concept of inheritance. What does an inheritance do? All my security assignments, all my organization assignment are automatically going to tag to my supervisory organization by the fundamentals of inheritance. So let's say this is my global modern services. If you see this, there are different sections. We need to understand that what all each section. So I'm not going to explain each section, but yes, the things which are being asked, I'll focus on that part. You see this organization's assignment. Okay, these assignments will be automatically get assigned from my superior organization. So if you arrange, see, if you say that global modern services organization's manager is, okay, manager, I can get it from roles. Under roles, I can see that, okay, just let me figure out my manager security group. Here I go, and it says that Steve Morgan is the manager of global modern services. So what does this mean? This means that whosoever is working under global modern services, all these employees are being managed by Steve Morgan. So by the concept of supervisory organization, we actually, what the purpose is, why we are creating supervisory organization, to group the employees. That is one task. What are the other roles and responsibilities of supervisory organization? To tag other kinds of organization. What are the other kinds of organization? Let's go for a real-time scenario. When I say I am working with, let's say, Deloitte, or I am working with Accenture, or with any other organization, all organizations have their own segregation. They'll not work with Workday. They'll say that, no, what we do is we follow a red, blue, yellow. This is my category of employee. Or we follow L1, L2, L3. So in my organization, there is a concept of group A, B, C. So A is like anyone who is having 2 years of experience will fall under group A. Anyone having experience 2 to 4 years will fall under B. So what is happening? My segregation is based on my experience, which is not given by Workday, But yes, this is also an organization because my organization is working with this parameter. So all your organization assignment, if I say company is being managed by employer, pay group, all the compensation partner or the payroll partner doesn't go with your cost centers, company, or with your location. They'll go with your pay group. Similarly, for finance related thing, cost center is the thing.
Hello. Hello, Manthan, you are not on.
One second, buddy. Okay, so having said that, if you see these organizations are for different purposes. My supervisory organization is the fundamental for Workday, but my organization also wants company, because yes, I have multiple companies, so I want my tagging to be there on the basis of company. Cost centers, this is for financials. For financial purposes, if you are getting salary, that salary will come from some specific cost center. So for financial related tagging, we should also have a cost center. Region, all these are the custom organization. So I'll talk about custom organization later. Since we are focusing on supervisory organization, let me clear this out. So having said that, when you create supervisory organization, there are different organizations which also get tagged with this, and any security group which are there can also be focused on this organization type. I can say that anyone who is working with the company so and so can have this access. So if you see, there is one task called maintain assignable roles. If you see this, while creating assignable roles, you actually get a screen wherein you can tag which kind of organizations you are creating a security group. Let me open that. Okay, let me tell you, reorganization is simply for the reporting purpose. So reorganization will give you that by using this organization, how many supervisory organizations you have created. So that is only for reporting purpose. You can choose any other reorganization. I can choose any reorganization. That is not going to change my security, my workflow. No, nothing. But if I'm saying use Workday training 01/01/2020, so make sure that if I'm using that, so I can get to know that by using these reorganizations, how many organizations are being created. When I say organizations, mean it can be your company, it can be your cost center, it can be your location hierarchy, it can be your any other organization. All those things are tagged to reorganization. Okay, let's talk about why these companies and these organizations are important. These informations are also associated with my security. If you see out here, you get to know the list of all the organizations which are there. Custom means which we will create. Workday means which are being given by Workday. So this is my Workday thing. Unit, cost centers, course, customer. These are the organization types which are being given by Workday. So these supervisory organizations are tagged with my company, and these company can also be used for configuring security. So the fundamental definition of supervisory organization is it is the foundation to Workday, and what they do, they group workers into a proper channel. So it could be your business unit, it could be your organization, it could be your location, it could be your same let's say it should be your same domain, whether it is an ERP or your software application or testing application. So all your segregations are tagged to your supervisory organization. Apart from there, any role-based security group which is based on supervisory organization, the security group will also show up under my security section. So when we create supervisory organization, we need to make sure, because the entire concept, the entire Workday configuration is solely based on my supervisory organization. if my supervisory organization transaction or creation goes wrong, that means my security will go for toss, my organization assignment will also go for toss. So supervisory organization looks easy to understand, but it's very, very important to understand the concept of it. Let me open. Then it says, okay, some practical scenarios using custom reports and calculated field. Okay, I hope you know the concept of single instance field, evaluate expression, or custom report. So let me give you one example. If you know that, then I'm not going to take this. If you don't know, then I'll create and give you the live scenario. Let's say it's a very it's there in every document. Let me give you an example. Let me open Excel. Okay, so let's say I'm creating a scenario that this is my employee name, this is my salary range. This is very common, but let me know if you understand this. And this is my output. I want, okay, you know why we create calculated field? We create, okay, the basic for calculated field is Workday delivered field. Means if I wanted to create any calculated field, I should first have the base field there in Workday. If it is not there, then I won't be able to create any calculated field. So calculated field will always work on the Workday delivered field, and calculated field will give you output during runtime. You cannot store that value in system. Please understand, this is very basic. For calculated field, I cannot store that value in application. I can only get the value of calculated field during runtime. When I say runtime means during integration, during EIB, during your report, you can only get the output. But when I say save, you cannot say that, okay, I have created a calculated field, you can see the value under members. No, I cannot do that. Calculated field always is a runtime activity. When I'm going to run report, I get the output. When I send my report to third party, I get my output. So that is the calculated field. Let me give you a real-time scenario that I'm creating a benefit reports. So this is a benefit report. In the benefit report, my benefit says I am going to cover the dependent who are below 25 years of age. This is my requirement. I am going to cover a dependent who is below 25 years of age, and the dependent should not exceed more than 2. You get my requirement. My requirement is I want a report to get the dependent information who should be having 25 years of below 25 years of age, and I should only get 2 instances. Let's say I have 4 dependents. So I don't want my 4 dependent to be getting output in my report. I want only 2 dependent. The condition is the 2 dependent should be below 25 years of age. This is one. Secondly, which is very common, let's say my salary is ranging 0 to $10,000. So this should be, say, low. Okay, I'm just giving you this example. By this example, you just tell me what should we use this. Let's say from 10,000 to 20,000. This is medium, and anything above, or let's say greater than equal to 20,000 is high. So what kind of since in Workday we don't save salary in this way. We actually give the number that this is 10,000 or 9,000. So which calculated field or which calculated function you feel in this scenario will work? This is my requirement. I want anyone who is getting salary between 0 to 10,000 in the report. I want the output should display low. Then anything between 10,000 to 20,000, I want in output it should be medium, and anyone who is getting salary more than 20,000 should get high.
Eval expression band.
Eval expression. Okay, correct. But when you use evaluate expression, you have to use multiple scenarios, right? You have to create a true or false condition as well, and you have to create a text constant. So evaluate expression is the one calculated field, but when you actually use evaluate expression, there are multiple calculated fields which are required, right? So this is my condition. So what I'll do, I'll use a calculated field function called true or false. So there I'll use this. Then later on, this is my a normal output, a text as an output. So I'll use this as a text constant. So whenever my first, okay, tell me how does evaluate expression works? Let's say my first thing is got wrong, and this is my default. My default is none. So how evaluate expression will work? Evaluate expression will first check all the condition. So condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. If my system is failing to get the condition, then it will give me default. But if my first condition is true, my second condition will not even run. Okay, my second condition is not even going to run. It will get true. That's it. All will be truncated and display low. So this is how a evaluate expression works. So when you create evaluate expression, there are multiple calculated fields which are tagged to it. So true or false is must, required, and then you should have your, if it is a text related, you can have a text. If you have other things. So this is like when someone is asking you what kind of calculated field you have created. So this is, it's very common, which are being used by in all the organization. Any organization who wanted to tag or create a report on evaluate expression, this is what they are. This output may vary. The output may vary. They will have some L1, L2, L3. They may have different things. Yes, but evaluate expression is the primary calculated function which is commonly used. And when someone is asking you about your experience in the calculated field, you can see that, or you can give the example of it. So I hope that calculated fields and report, like as an overview, you are good on that part. So I'll just jump on to the
Manthan, one question before we
other yeah. Yes, go ahead.
You said in the evaluate expression, we create text constants, right? When we use the function evaluate expression,
Yes.
but there is another function called evaluate expression band, wherein you don't need to use text constant. Which is the best approach in real time? Generally people use evaluate expression band, or else people generally go for a regular evaluate expression and create text constants and select that calculated field as an option over there.
Right. See, calculated band will always give you an output where you have to use, where you always have a predefined band. Let's say for performance, throughout the performance, I'll say that if anyone is scoring between 0 to 1, I'll say bad. Anyone is scoring between 2 to 3 is good. Anyone is scoring 3 to 4 is better, or 0 or 5, I'll say best. So here you have a band, which is a common definition throughout your organization. So when you have a definition which has been given a global information to all the organization, then you can use a band thing. Or else, see, here I've given you example that this is my band, but what if I'll say something else? I'll say that where there is male, print M, when there is female, print F. Now here you won't be able to do when there is a numeric condition. I'm saying anyone who is male should get M, anyone who is female should get print F. So when a quantity is defined based on your parameter, then you'll use evaluate expression band where there is a quantity based condition. So if 0 to 1 good, 0 2 to 1 best, but here in this evaluate expression there is no quantity. I'm getting output based on some one condition satisfied. There is no quantity. Then you should always use evaluate expression. So evaluate expression has got more advantage. When you use evaluate expression, you can use these condition as well as numeric condition. But when you say evaluate expression band, so you are restricted to use only a condition based on some numeric value. So as a beginner, since you are looking for an evaluate expression, rather than use the evaluator expression not with the band. So let me show you that which one I'm talking about. Let's say there is a create cal field is a function. The task name, I'll go here, and if you see the function, scroll down, yeah, here you see this evaluate expression and evaluate expression band. So band will always you, it will take numeric or the parameters as an input, but in evaluate expression, whether it could be numeric or it could be any condition, it will work on that part. So evaluate expression actually supersede these conditions. So yes, we should always prefer to use evaluate expression. Understood?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna take a deep dive into the custom report and calculated field as of now. We'll see if we get any questions, then we'll focus on that part. So let's jump on to the other thing, which says, okay, tell me a couple of integration issue which had to resolve. Okay. Now, since recently I worked on the benefits, so I'll take a benefit issue. So because I work for United States clients, so United States clients, they start their benefit from 1st of January. The duration is 1st of January to 31st of December. This is what the cycle is about benefit. So what they do is like they enroll for benefit. I hope most of you understand, or else I'll take a different scenario if benefit is not clear with everyone. Okay. Okay. So the very common issue, since what integration does is it is migration of data from Workday to third-party system or from third-party system to Workday system. The common thing is like migrating data from Workday, because most of the clients who are using Workday, they make sure that Workday is their primary application. And when we talk about, we should make sure that we understand the concept of XML and XSLT, which is a thumb rule. Again, it's a programming language, okay? But for functional consultant, if they don't know, sorry?
Can you repeat? The audio was not clear. It was...
Okay. I'm talking about this part. Question 4, integration issue. So very common integration issue is like your document is not getting delivered. Your document is not getting delivered. When I say document is not getting delivered means, what are the different kinds of document delivery? We can send it across SFTP, FTP, email, or there are other ways to migrate the document. So when you migrate a document, you should always make sure that your document is being encrypted format. So you should, okay. I hope everyone understand the concept of integration. Let me open any integration. Let's say I'll create an EIB. Create EIB. Let's say test 1, 2, 3, and this is for, let's say, outbound. I'm migrating my data from third-party system. Let me go this way and see the delivery option. So in delivery option, actually we have, yeah. Let me say edit. You see this option, encrypt using. So what are the encryption and how this encryption works? Does anyone know what does this encryption is about? Let me tell you. When you migrate data from your Workday system to third-party system, so we should first have a handshake. Handshake means we should give our public key or get the public key. Let's say I'm migrating data from, let's say I'm migrating demographic information to Oracle application. Okay. Now, when I'm migrating, how does Oracle application will accept this data, or how does my Workday will give data to Oracle? So there should be a handshake, means we should define into the system by saying that, okay, any data which you are sending it to Oracle should be authenticated. So when we do this, there is a concept of encryption. So what does this encryption do? This encryption actually creates a handshake between Workday and third-party application. So you first have to create a PGP encryption. So what is happening? Okay, now I'll tell you how does this works. So let's say I'll delete this. So there is Workday and there is Oracle. Okay, but when you wanted to migrate data from Workday to Oracle, so obviously you have to understand that the application should talk to each other. Okay, when I say talk to each other means you should have all the applications have public key. So PG is public key, even Oracle is having public key. Sorry, PK. Public key. Public key means this key you can give it to anyone, and same application will have private key. Okay, let me change the name. It says private key. Okay, so when you wanted to create a linking between Workday and Oracle, this is again not related to Workday. Any integration works in this format. Since this fundamental is also there in Workday, so I'm explaining it. So when you wanted to migrate data from Workday to Oracle, so what will happen? Oracle will share his public key to Workday. So we just have to add the public key in Workday, so that what is happening? Any data which comes from Workday, Oracle will understand, okay, this is my authenticate system, so I'll get this information. So first thing is like you should first do the connectivity, because the basic fundamental of integration is migrating data. So that is the one thing. Here I'm not going to take studio related queries now, because studio is again a high level thing, wherein since we are covering first functional, then into integration, and then purely into studio part. So we'll be dividing our sessions into 3 equal parts. One is purely into HCM, not purely into HCM, but into fundamentals. Second, purely onto the integration, which is into reports, calculated field, core connectors, and EIB. And lastly, only focus on studio part. Okay. So yes, the basic issue is like your encryption means your linking of application is not there. First thing. Secondly, if you see here in Workday, you store data as DDMMYY, but when you migrate data, it is going in MMDDYY. So calculated field doesn't work. At times, calculated field doesn't give you the correct value. So the next picture comes that you should know the concept of XSLT. Why we create XSLT? What is the reason of creating XSLT? Because the thumb rule says Workday understand only XML. Means any data which comes into Workday or goes from Workday will always be an XML. But Oracle says I don't want XML. I understand Excel. So now what to do? Since Workday is very specific, if you are loading something, it should be always in XML. When Workday is giving any output, it is always been XML. So now you have to transform your data from XML to any other document format, whether it could be TXT, JSON. So you have to use XSLT. So anyone who is purely focusing on the integration front, for those you can just again, if you know XSLT, it's well and good. If you don't know, don't dishearten. XSLT is a tagging, it's like a tag related programming language wherein it is a purely tag based. So focus on tag. Since I know everyone is know that w3school.com is a very common website wherein you can learn any new technology. So yes, anyone who is interested to work in the integration front should know the XSLT. Once you get the XSLT, then you can transform your document. What is integration? Integration is all about migrating data from one application to other application. So XSLT, create your XSLT, do your programming in XSLT, then attach and then migrate your data from your Workday system to third-party system. The most common issue which I have encountered is delivery. Delivery is not taking place. So the common issue is like your firewall. Since you are working on a client's project, so client's firewall will always deny your data migration from one system to other system. This issue is very common, very common firewall issue. Secondary, any point in time you create a integration, you make sure that you tag to an integration security user. So create integration system user. Please understand, integration system user has to be there for any integration. You're getting it? Integration system user. So this is my task name. Let's say integration. Integration system user. Okay. So this task is not there. This task means when you create any integration, you make sure that you tag your integration to integration system. Why we should use this? Why we are not able to do this? Let me tell you. See, since I'm an employee, at any point in time, my account can get disabled. Disable means, let's say I leave the organization. Now I am no more with the organization. Now, if you are running your integration with your ID, what will happen? All the integration which I am owning may get discontinued because I left the organization, my account become inactive. So all the integrations which is there will go for a toss. Okay. Now imagine a scenario. If tomorrow is my payroll run and I left the organization today, your document is supposed to hit the Oracle application today, but I left the organization. What will happen in this scenario? The entire payroll will go for a toss. Okay. So to avoid such scenario, whenever you create any integration, you make sure that you tag your integration with a integration system user, so that even though you leave the organization or you shut down your account or you don't work, it is not user dependent, because integration system user is not an individual. It is an account which you create. As long as Workday is there, that account will be there. Okay. So this is the second most issue which most of the client faces. Okay. Okay. Anything associated with Studio, will have a dedicated session purely on Studio front.
Manthan, before we proceed, you just mentioned introduction to the PGP, right? Like why we do to create a handshake between two systems. Can you just mention the steps also? Just because we are not very clear in the trainings,
Okay.
also they mention.
Okay. Let me share you that. So, see, Workday is very smart application. There is no concept of menu, so it's better you only know PGP. So simply type PGP. Okay, simply type PGP. So anything which is associated with PGP will show up over here. So let's say I want to create a PGP public key. So when you create a public key, you just give that this is for Oracle.
So this is the example you are taking is an outbound integration,
Oracle
right?
PGP. Yeah. See, whether it could be outbound or inbound, you have to create a PGP, because in PGP I am giving my public key. So whether it could be inbound or outbound, because if anything coming in Workday should not automatically accept that also. Workday will also question, right? Who are you? Please give me your identity. So that identity is PGP. You're getting it?
Yes.
Yeah. Whether it could be inbound or outbound, we should first define in our application that the public key we have to update. So I'm saying Oracle PGP. Here you see this is a certificate section. This certification section means there will be a key. I don't have, because this is my personal system, I don't have PGP example, but okay, I'll give you a PGP. What does a PGP public key looks like? So it is actually a text which has like a random keys which no one can memorize it. So you will get that PGP, just put it here. So what you are doing, you are creating a PGP. Let's say I'm saying, okay, I'm putting this way. So this is my key for Oracle. Since this is a training environment, this will not work. But since all the steps are there, I'll show you that step. So this is, I have added
the certificate, this key, right? Whatever we are pasting in that certificate, Oracle will produce, generate and send us that.
this is being given by the third party application. Yeah, that is for sure. Because any application, it is not with Oracle, Workday, or any application will have their public key. Any kind of integration, whether it could be with Workday to Oracle, or SAP to Oracle, or Taleo to Oracle, there should be a concept of public key. That's what I said. This is very common. There should be a concept of public key wherein handshake should be there. Then only data will migrate. Without handshaking, if you are trying to migrate, system will not do. So this is very common thing. Since anything with the certification, like when I started working on Workday, since after 4 to 5 years, I got to know this concept, that what does a PGP mean? Because prior to this, no one gave me this kind of task. Okay, even though you say that I know this concept, no one will give you, because creating any kind of handshake between document, you should have a good experience. Secondly, your organization should trust you, though you're working as a vendor or you're working with the in-house, but yes, trust is always required. So that's the reason. When you will not directly get this task since it is there. So I'm explaining you, but yes, you get to know this task when you actually get a sound experience in Workday. Okay. So this is how you do. When you go to encryption, you will get this Oracle PGP there. So what is happening? You are assigning that, okay, Oracle has given me this certificate. So what will happen when my Workday will hit to Oracle? It will say that, okay, boss, this is your public key, please check. So Workday will validate that. Oracle will validate that. And if it matches, then only your data will go there, or else your data will be there lying on this thing. And importantly, during the training session, no one will explain this. Why? Because this tenant is not enabled with the migration. When I say migration, it is a tenant related security. It is a tenant security wherein your migration should work. So it is a tenant setup. So unless you work with the client is purposely activating that, then only you can see a live scenario. Or else the second thing is you have to go with the certification. Then only you can understand this concept. You're getting it in GMS tenant or any training environment. These migration is not enabled. Okay. And at the same time, no one will give you Oracle say, but please do testing in our application. So since this is required, but this is there in theory itself. Okay.
Okay. So regarding the private key and everything, we don't need to.
No, since even though you say, if I'm telling you, I can share my experience, but yes, if you have not gone through with that, it will be always a tough to explain in front of interviewer. And as I said, don't overcome it. Who is taking your interview, he or she knows what kind of interview they are taking it. So never ever overcome it. And since I am considering like what I have been told, like you guys minimum 2 years of experience, you guys are projecting. So yes, for 2 years, what is there, you know that only. And what I can understand from 2 days, you guys have got that experience. The only thing is you don't have the live experience. That is the only lacking point in terms of concept, in terms of understanding, in terms of fundamentals. You guys are very, very well versed. See, the only thing is like you don't have the live scenario. So it is actually giving you a backlog wherein you cannot give your example with the live scenarios. So that is what I am here, any kind of live scenarios. And yeah, whatever I am telling, that is not the entire world also. What I have came across, I am giving you that example. When you work, you may get a different kinds of scenarios. So what we have to do is like we have to learn and accumulate everything and then go for an interview. Okay. So yes, attending any interview, always make sure that you give always a live scenario. Since this question is very good, what I am seeing is like it is filled up with all the things. So what I'm doing, I'm just adding my supporting answer to these questions. Okay. Since we are like cross 9, so since you might have gone through any interview, or if you wanted to share or understand the concept, so it's up to you guys. Feel free to ask me anything associated with our agenda, which could be functional as well as technical.
Manthan, one question.
Yeah.
So for EAB outbounds or anything, we use SFTP delivery, right?
Okay.
So there are other delivery options like FTP and other things, right? Which one
Yeah,
do we use?
services.
Yeah, which one do we use most in real time?
No.
Which
See,
one is?
up to us. Let me, okay. See, let's say I'm again go to same page, create EIB. Now, in real time scenario, because what I am doing, please understand the requirement. If I am sending my data to, let's say, Oracle, again, so I cannot ask Oracle, since my Workday understand only XML, you take my document in XML. No, Oracle will say, this is my rule. I want anything in XML. Sorry, I want anything in, let's say, in Excel. So delivery method is always being defined by vendor to whom you are sending your document. Okay, commonly if I say 10 out of 7 customers or 10 out of 7 vendors use SFTP. SFTP is very relevant and commonly used delivery method. But I have worked for one customer which is saying that I want to transfer my document over HTTPS. Okay, so when you talk about the delivery is actually given by your customer. Let's say okay, let me tell you about my real-time scenario. I work for an integration called intranet. Intranet, intranet is not that intranet. Intranet is the application itself for United States. So most of the customers in United States using intranet as a portal to update their employees information. So my task was to update all the demographic information from Workday to their intranet, right? If I'm updating anything, it should directly go to the intranet. Now, this should be over HTTPS, means it should be live. I don't want report, then report should sit in their folder and then they'll upload that. No, it was live. So what delivery want, it has to be defined by your vendor. You cannot define. But yes, having said that, mostly SFTP is used. Let's say test. We'll talk about the different kinds of delivery method. And yeah, again, delivery method, since this is not enabled with the delivery sessions, so we won't be able to test that. But any point in time, if I get, since again I'm in discussion, if I get to know, any point in time I'll share or I'll work on my tenant wherein on project which I'm working, since it is too early to commit anything. But yeah, if have a good association in real time scenario, how do we connect, how do data migrate, how do we see the data, I'll show you that. But since this is an initial engagement, I don't want to commit you anything. But yeah, any point in time, if our engagement is good, I'll share you with that. So let me go to the delivery option. In delivery option, you see out here, it says, okay, let me say delivery method. Okay. It is asking me that which one I chose. Inbound. Sorry, in delivery inbound will not come. I chose the wrong one. Let me create outbound one. You got it right. I chose the wrong.
Yes.
Outbound will always have a delivery option. Now this time I'll change. Outbound. Okay, here you see the delivery option. So by default, it is Workday attachment. Workday attachment will only show up in your notification. Now, these are the kinds of delivery Amazon shows. So mostly which are being used by client is SFTP. What does an SFTP does? SFTP gets your document from Workday and plays to the third party application. So when you say an SFTP, here the address, directory, authentication method, whether it is dual, SSH. Okay. Okay, I'll talk about this part. This is very important thing. SSH. Again, this is an handshake between, we should also focus on this part, and username or password. So when you say SFTP, all these information you will be given by, let's say I'm migrating to Oracle. So Oracle will give me this thing. So in delivery method, you don't have to work anything. You just have to ask your client, please tell me what is my delivery method. So they'll say we are transferring our data over SFTP. So all your credentials will be given to you by vendor. Okay, that this is my address, this is my directory, and okay, what should be the authentication? Since I'm migrating my data, so whether it should be a dual means it will ask for SS authentication. Here also we create a public and private key association and username or passwords. So we can have these kinds of authentication when we are migrating data from third party to. Mostly we should use I have been worked for numerous integrations. What I have found that SFTP is very common one. And when you say SFTP, you don't have to create any programming language. Delivery is already been delivered by Workday. Just put the credentials and bingo, you are ready to use this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So any other queries from anyone?
Hello.
Manthan, you were talking about, you're talking about data migration from one tenant to another, right? So can you help understand how the data can be migrated through iLoads from one tenant to another?
Manthan, you were in the middle of integration issues.
Yeah. So I said that we have a dedicated session where we will focus on the studio part. So maybe I'll check with the organizer that when should we have a purely dedicated session where we
Hello.
So I don't want to yeah, I'm audible.
No,
hello?
you're not.
Now for others?
Yeah, now it's better, but sometime back it was cut.
Okay, so I'm talking about that we can have a purely a dedicated session focused on the studio front, because if I start now also, I won't be able to finish that off. So do you mind if I have this session in next week? Is it okay with you? Or if you have any questions, you can type me across. I'll share this input to coordinator and you can get with him. Is it okay? You can chat your query. Is it okay with you? Okay, I got your question. So the question is like, in sometimes we need to send our data. So it is always preferred. Always, sorry, I wrote it no, but it should be yes. So let me read the question. The question is, sometimes we need to send integration data within organization, right? In that case, do we need to encryption? Yes. See, if you're not encryption, you're not doing any harm. Okay, you can send the data, but as a good consultant, you should always encrypt your data. This is thumb rule. Whether you are migrating your data from your organization to within the organization or to other, it is always defined that always use an encryption technique so as to secure your data migration. And always use this. Is it okay? I was asked in the interview as what are the data cleanup, data validation and data conversion activity in your current project. Okay, first this is very good question, and I think this should be like, I'll take this question and explain it to everyone. Please read the question. It says, please explain me about data cleanup activity, data validation and data conversion. Okay, so first we'll talk about data cleanup activity. When I say any cleanup activity, the cleanup activity should work with custom reports. So, okay, what does a cleanup means? Let's say I have started using Workday from 2010 and till now I'm using Workday. Okay, so if I'm using Workday from 10 years, obviously there are some instances wherein few security groups I'm not using, or there are some organizations which I am not using, which are empty. There are some reports which I am not using, which are expired. there are integrations which are expired. So what does cleanup means? Cleanup means unwanted data should not be there in the organization. So recently, currently I am working on the supervisory organization cleanup activity. So what does a supervisory organization cleanup activity means? Cleanup activity means any unused data in Workday should be cleaned. Let's say there are hundreds of positions which are not being used. So how do you do that? Because what is the issue? Why we need to do a cleanup? First, we'll understand what is the issue. Why everyone is talking about data cleanup activity? Because when you actually see the open position history, you will get to know that there are 200 positions. But in real-time scenario, you have only 50 positions open. So what is happening? Your reporting goes wrong. When you say, I have a 20 supervisory organization. 20 supervisory organization means 20 managers. But you also have an inactivated supervisory organization. So, okay. Let me give a real-time scenario. Let's say I'm inactivating one supervisory organization. Recently I've encountered, and this is very good issue. I'll come back to your question also. Recently I've encountered one issue, which is a very good issue, and everyone can use that in your interview. So let's say I am inactivating one supervisory organization. Please let me do that. So let's say we know that there are two supervisory organizations which doesn't have any employee. So let me go back to human resource. Okay, enter. So this organization, or else let me, okay, no, if I'll create, will consume time. So if you see this, there are no members and there are no open position. Means if there are open positions, so I can't inactivate this. Let me create one. Let's say I'll quickly create supervisory organization. Sorry. Okay, this is my create supervisory organization. I think Workday will always be there, so I'll use Workday. Yeah, it's there. And quickly creating. See, I'm not inheriting, so my primary location become mandatory. Let me say San Francisco. Okay, I'll say test 1, 2, 3. Why cleanup activity is required? I'm explaining you that. So let's say this is my supervisory organization, which I'm not using, but still the definition is there. Okay, let me go back to position management and I'll assign roles. Okay, I'll assign also, because when I have created, I would have given manager. Let me say manager. Okay, I am saying, let's say Steve Morgan, or we'll make C. Smith. I'm making C. Smith as the manager of this supervisory organization. Okay. Now, why does a cleanup activity required? If you see this, there are no members and there is no open position. Means if I am not using this, so I should not having this in my system. Why? Because actually this is creating a problem. When I say, let me know the count of organizations in my organization or in my location. So if this is empty and I'm not using from last 4 years, so this is again giving me a wrong value. My reporting will go wrong. And see a scenario. I am a CEO of an organization and I am not interested to see who all are there in one organization. I only need, please let me know how many employees are there in my organization or how many managers are there. This is what my interest is. So if your organization is blank, this is still be considered what? Because I have given a role here that my manager is C. Smith is my manager of test. But if you see, he's not managing no one. There is no employee. So what is happening? Your count or your reporting will go for a toss. And this happens with all the customers. Even my current customers, now they have realized that activity should be there. There are so many organizations, positions which are created and they actually giving us the wrong value. So this is my scenario wherein I don't have employees, so I am not managing anyone. But if I see my roles, I am a manager. So again, wrong information. So cleanup activity should be there to avoid wrong information. First thing. Now, why should it happen? Let's say I am inactivating this. let me inactivate this. This is a real-time scenario. I'll give you the conclusion as well. Let's say I want to inactivate my organization. Okay, I'll go to reorganization and there is an action called inactivate. Now you see, when you inactivate organization, let me inactivate by today. I'll click OK. If you see here, if you check this option, keep all role assignment. If you see, there is a huge difference. See, I'll give you my scenario also. This is similar to this. If you see, keep all role assignment. If you check this box or keep all role assignment, check this box and then you submit, your purpose is resolved. That employee's organization is inactivated, but still my employee is tagged to the security group. Now, I have done, I have created a dashboard and if I have inactivated, so I'll not focus on inactivate organization, but still I have tagged one employee to an HR partner, which not supposed to have an HR partner access. But because of my assignment, even she was able to see the dashboard and I scratched my head. I invested my 2 days to just understand, since if I go to her profile and see security groups, I'm not able to see. If I'm going to a user base, I'm not able to see any assignment. Still, she can see my dashboard. Why? Because she has been assigned to my inactivate organization. Means she was a manager of an organization at one point in time. Just because I chose these options to inactivating, that means her access is still tagged to this. So cleanup activity creates, if you're not doing cleanup activity, it will create a mess. So this is one example. When you inactivate organization, you make sure that you uncheck this and then submit. What will happen? This organization's activity is gone. Now no one in the system will have access to this security group. Okay, so understood why cleanup is required? Because it is not giving you the correct value. As an CEO, as a head of the organization, I am not interested to see the individual thing. I am interested to see what I actually have in my system. So cleanup activity, this is not in terms of supervisory organization, in terms of position. Let's say there are job profiles, there are companies, cost centers, which you are created in 2010, but now you're not using that. If you're not using them, make sure that you do a cleanup activity. So understood why we required a cleanup activity to get the accurate result. First thing, which is clear. Now let me focus on the second part. Let me just read that chat. One second. What was the second part? Yeah, it's here. Then there is data validation. What does a data validation do? Now, a simple definition. You might have remembered when we add someone's education, we keep on creating their certificate. Even though that certificate is there in the system, but we keep on creating the same certification. So what is happening? Same name is created 5 times. So now, if I say Manthan is tagged to, let's say, Workday consultant. You are tagged to Workday consultant. So what is happening? There are 2 instances, Workday consultant, Workday. Let me show you the live screen. So let's say I'm talking about this thing. This card. So guys, I'm just extending for 5 minutes. Let me know if it is a showstopper. I'll stop it here because I got to know that you have another session at 9:30. So let me know if that is the case. I'll cut it short. So if you see here, see this education. If I wanted to create more, I can click on this add, and rather than getting from here, from the list, I'll create one school. So what is happening? I am creating the same school is not that, I'll create one. Similarly, you will go and you will say that my school is not that, I'll create one. So what is happening? Same school name is entered 3 times. Now, which one is correct, right? Again, it's a data validation issue, because if I am saying I studied from one school, the same school name if you have studied, so you will just use the same ID. Here, what is happening? I created my school name. You created also your school name. So what is happening? Same name is there. Again, it's a data validation issue. So this is a common thing which you can say address in an interview, that when I say a data validation, I should make sure that I should always pick up from my list here. If my lists are not there, or you should first update all your list and then allow user to add this thing, or else user will not understand and they will keep on adding their school without understanding and getting checked from the list. So this is a data validation issue. Secondly, when you create a job profile issue is the severe issue in all the Workday application with customers. Job profile is the very common issue. Why job profile is very common? Because they create job profile and they forgot to add their hierarchy. Let's say I say I'm an analyst. What do you come to know by analyst? No, you know to understand that whether I'm an analyst from job family, which is my job family, and which is my job family group. If I say I'm an analyst, my job family is HR and I am part of human resource, then you will come to know, okay, my job profile is tagged to this. If similarly, I'm an analyst, you are also an analyst. Now you tell me what is my job profile? What is your job profile? By the name of analyst, you will only say, okay, he'll be working on some project, but you won't be able to know, do I am an analyst for sales or HR or IT? So always make sure that this is very common issue. Always when you create job profile, first understand the concept of job family and then tag it to job family group. This is also a validation thing. And lastly, you're saying there is one more thing. Let me open. And the other one is data conversion. What does a conversion mean? This was very good question. I really liked it. Thank you, Asha, for posting this. Okay, so data conversion is, let's say my organization has acquired another organization, 400 of employees. Now, obviously, if I wanted to have that employees organization in my system, I'll have to add their information. Now, how do I add that? Do I have to create all the job profiles, all the compensation, all the company cost center for them? Or can I use the existing one? What does a conversion mean? Updating some information from their legal
Manthan, what is
Sorry?
yeah.
Okay, I think it's 9:30 now. My system, yeah, I think it's 9:30 and my system is giving me a message that please stop it here. No worries, I'll continue for 5 more minutes and then we'll talk.
Can you repeat again? We didn't understand anything.
Okay, is it related to data conversion, right?
Yes, Manthan.
Okay. Okay. So let's focus on data conversion. So now let's say my organization has acquired a new organization with 500 employees. You might have heard that Accenture acquired Day9. There are Aperio has been acquired by Alight. So what is happening? Conversion is happening. Let's say my organization has acquired one more organization, but my organization is live with Workday. I am live with my 5 years. I have been live with 5 years of Workday. Now, if you wanted to migrate, you cannot go for an implementation. Implementation is one time when you actually implement the application. Here, implementation will not work. That means iLoad will also not work. Here, what will work? A data conversion. Data conversion can be worked. So EIB is very common wherein we can convert data. So, but yeah, before converting, you have to focus on few things. Whether all the job profiles are there, their compensation grades and grade profiles are there in the system.
Not
Workday, so there all these information should be updated. One second. Now am I audible?
Now it's
Yes,
okay.
Manthan.
Yeah, couple of seconds will last.
Okay, no worries. So so I'm talking about conversion part. So when you go for a conversion, there are few parameters which you have to focus. So which parameters are those? Your company should be there, cost centers should be there, job profile should be there, position should be there, compensation growth should be there. If you have all these information, then only you can go for a conversion, because those employees may have that compensation structure. So all should be done before migrating. And migrating, how you can migrate? All these information you can migrate via EIB. So first you will create their position. You will see whether job profiles are there or not. If not, then you'll create. And everything can be done via EIB. I'm not talking about anything manual process. All the conversion will go with the EIB, because EIB is updating any record from template or any other application to Workday. The best approach is EIB. Since conversion is one-time activity, I cannot go ahead and create a studio integration for one-time activity. For multiple times, let's say studio, when I want to create studio, when there is a recurring process. Conversion is not a recurring process. Conversion is a one-time process. So I'll be using EIB as a integration concept, wherein all my data I'll update in an EIB template, and then I'll upload into my Workday application. Understood? Okay. Is it clear now? Because that question was very good. What is the difference between, why should we go for cleanup? I think I am clear. If you have any queries, you write it to coordinator. I'll write it back to him. Then data validation, I explained. And the last one is data conversion. There is one more question. What would be the preferred delivery method? I spoke. Okay, used within organization. Yeah, encryption is required. Okay, object transporter. How to use iLoad? Okay, yeah. Object transporter is like migrating of my solution from one application to other one tenant to other tenant. When I say one tenant, means it should not be from Samsung tenant to Amazon tenant. No, one tenant to means my implementation to sandbox, then my sandbox to production, and it should have the same domain, means for same customer. I cannot migrate from Samsung to Amazon or from Deloitte to Accenture. No. If I'm using object transporter is for migrating the solution. Let's say, let me view the integration. I think I should have given you 1 hour, then half an hour of Q&A. Let's say this is my integration. If I wanted to migrate this integration to, let's say,
Manthan, we don't have the next class, I guess. So can you please continue?
Okay,
if
I have this benefit integration. Okay, no worries. I'll extend for 10 more minutes, because I have got couple of good questions which I don't want that I should skip that. So okay, I'm talking about object transporter. So object transporter is for migrating the solution, means Workday solution from one tenant to other tenant. Okay, now this solution is not work with the preview tenant. I hope you understand the preview tenant. Preview tenant is a tenant which is being given by Workday prior to the new release. So, okay, object transporter. Let's say I want to transfer my benefit integration to, this is my JMS tenant. Again, in JMS tenant, it is not working. It should always work with the client tenant. So my domain name should be with my client. Then only my object transporter will work. But I'll show you that option. So when you wanted to migrate, first there is a create, solution migration is there, and other one is object transporter. I can use this. Importantly, when you are transferring any object, make sure that you have the same security access in both the tenants. If I'm migrating from implementation tenant to sandbox, I should have same security. If I don't have same security access, is simply for migrating object object transporter is simply for migrating my configuration from one tenant to another tenant. Let me see which are the other question. Okay. We don't have, okay, there is one more question. Let me figure out that. It's like in the recent interview, I have asked if I had Workday community ID, and if yes, what is it? No. Never ever share your community ID, because Workday community ID is tagged to your organization. You don't have to share that. If anyone is asking, say that I'm so sorry, I won't be able to give, because when you give your Workday community ID, it actually gives you a Workday from which company you got that access. So never ever disclose that. Okay, since you say that it's like it's been given by my customer, so I won't be able to share you that.
Okay. Yeah, he was persistent, and he was asking me like, do you have a community ID? And because I had to say yes, and then he was like, no, tell me what is it.
See, if you're saying that you're a Workday consultant, so any Workday consultant will have work, because without Workday community, no one will give you access. Whether it could be
Correct,
JMS.
correct, yeah.
We are in training environment, so training environment we can skip this. But what you are projecting that you have 2 years of experience. That means
Yes, yeah.
so always say yes, but never share, because if you share your community ID is tagged to your organization, and they'll get into your organization information, which is not. So never ever share anything.
Okay.
Yes is the right answer. Without S, if they say, they'll kick you out, because without community,
Yes.
even now
Yeah.
also, most of the time or any time, if I stuck somewhere, I use community. So community usage is required. So without community, no one will start their Workday career. So every time, for others also, say yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Manthan, you said it is tagged customer also, right? So
Also. Okay, I'll tell you who will get the customer Workday ID. Someone who is working with Workday, someone is working with Workday partners, and someone who is working with the Workday customers. So these three are the different kinds of people who will get community access. Okay, and this is tagged with the Workday. So Workday will actually give you the access. Okay.
What is Workday customers and Workday partners difference?
Yeah, partner is like, okay. Let me give you the clear definition. Customer means Samsung. Samsung is using Workday, so I am a Workday customer. Accenture, they are customer as well as they are supporting Workday. What they are doing, since Accenture is implementing for, let's say, Walmart. Accenture is implementing for Bank of America. So what Accenture is doing, Accenture is partner. They are liable to implement Workday for other customers. But Samsung itself is a customer. So let's say I am working for Samsung. So I am a customer's community access. You are working in Accenture. So you are partner, means Accenture has got right to implement Workday for other customers. Understood? And the basic definition, which you can directly go to workday.com, and you will get the list of all the customers and partners.
Okay.
Okay. Understood?
So we do have only one ID, right? So
we don't have 19 class, as you can continue the session. Okay.
So Manthan, we have only one ID, right?
Yeah, one community ID. No, if you are working with a customer, and so let's say, I'll give my example. Let's say I am associated with Accenture. So I have an Accenture ID, I have Accenture community, but I am working for, let's say Samsung is my client. I am working for Samsung. So there are instances when Samsung will say, okay, we'll create a customer, you'll create a Workday ID for you as well, since you are working with us. So now here what I'm having two access. One is from my company, which is Accenture, hypothetical scenario. And since I'm working with a Samsung customer, so Samsung will also create me ID. So that is there.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, we are clear now.
Okay. Now the difference between, then I'll stop here. Difference between object transporter and solution. So mostly we use both of these solutions, both of these options are used to migrate solution. Let's say if I'm talking about integration, I take 2 months and create. As I said yesterday, I gave you example of one calculated field. I was working rigorously, and let's say I would have been successful. So I say that I have created a calculated field for 15 days. Now I want to create same thing in production. If I'll say you, please create same thing in production, so obviously you'll go mad, because you have to create all the calculated fields there. So to avoid this scenario, what Workday says, I'll give you a solution migrator or object transporter as an concept, wherein by using these two, you can actually migrate your solution or your configuration. So solution migrator or object transporter are used for migrating your configuration from one tenant to other tenant, and this is within company. I cannot migrate from Samsung to Amazon. If I wanted to do so, I have to have the same customer name, which is Samsung, from my implementation tenant to sandbox, from my sandbox to Workday production. You cannot directly jump from your implementation tenant to production. No. If you want to migrate your solution, this is the hierarchy. Implementation tenant, which is not refreshing every week, then migrate it to sandbox, which refreshes every week, and from sandbox to Workday. This is what. And yes, what I preferred is object transporter. Object transporter is easy. Solution migrator, at times it doesn't work. Importantly, when you are migrating from one tenant to other tenant, you should have access in both the tenant. Then only you'll be able to migrate it. Okay?
Okay.
I think, guys, we are up with the time. So let me conclude that, and I'll check with the coordinator what would be the ideal time to discuss only on studio. Okay, so I'll check with him, and we'll come to a conclusion that what would be the preferred time. Again, if I'm saying this would be very initial time to start with studio, this is what my understanding is. But let me check with him as well. If he agrees, then we'll come to a conclusion and we'll say that we'll have this session purely dedicated for studios. Apart from studio, we'll have this session. So what I preferred is, like, since I am saying that everyone is a techno-functional consultant. So when I'm saying techno-functional consultant, we should have functional as well as technical expertise. And since we are projecting 2 years, so this is what we should focus on. Yeah, studio always comes a bit later, and it is purely dedicated to the guy who technically understands the integration concept and should understand the functional also. So let me check with him, get the appropriate time for the studio, and then we'll discuss on that.
Okay, thank you, Manthan.
Yeah, I'm concluding the session for the day, and see you next week, and we'll take it